in-laws can be a touchy topic for many couples, and oftentimes we have expectations that we're showing by what we're asking for, but we don't really talk about the expectations. So if you're someone who's feeling torn between your family of origin and your partner, today we are going to tackle that very difficult topic and how to work through that as a couple, hopefully before you get married. Hi, my name is Olivia. I'm passionate about helping you understand what relational trauma is so that you can heal, overcome it, and ultimately move on with your life. So today, everything is coming from my book. It's called Do I? You can find it on Amazon. I'll also link it in the description. So if you are someone who has felt like you were in the middle and you're trying to please your family of origin, which is like your parents, your grandparents, your siblings, and you're also trying to please your partner, usually it's over time. This is surrounding things like holidays, birthdays, Christmas, or sometimes it's weekends, sometimes it's Sundays. There are expectations sometimes from our family of origin that collide or brush up against what our partner wants. So we have this normal expectation of how we've all been living for a period of time, but then you have your partner who has not been part of that, and maybe they don't want a part in that. So here is where we can sort of like mess it up. We tend to think that if our partner doesn't want to go along with the current MO, the current way that our family operates, that means they don't love us, or that means they don't like our family. It could mean they don't like your family, but more often than not, it just means they're not interested in spending that much time away from their own life. So they could see it as, I have other stuff that I want to do. Sundays mean something different to me. Holidays mean something different to me. Or you may have to split time between their family and your family. So here's where a difference in values often collides, and sometimes it becomes too much of a barrier. And I don't think it always has to be, but what we want to learn how to do is realize that life is changing, expectations are going to change, but you don't have to give up what you want and what you expect. You want to see maybe if you can find a compromise. So here are some key questions that you can ask yourself and your partner and talk about. So before we can get to a place of compromise, we first have to talk about what it is we're expecting. So if you can just talk about your expectations and not have it be a threat, and also have your partner share their expectations, but not have it be a threat, then eventually you'll get to a compromise. But if every time we hear something different than what we want, our like hackles come up and our claws come out and we get really protective and defensive, it's going to be almost impossible to reach a compromise. You have to have a lot of dialogue, which means back and forth, like playing tennis. You know, it's your turn, now it's my turn, now it's your turn. And so we can actually identify where we're at, and then we can reach a compromise. So here is our first question, and this is found on page 54, and that is coming from Do I? So in the book, the first question that it's going to ask you is, how often are you expecting or wanting to go to your family's home? So in your mind, maybe you expect to go at least once a week. Maybe you expect that you're going to go every Friday and Saturday, or every Friday and Sunday, or maybe there's Monday dinners that you're expecting to go to. So just realistically and as honest as you can be, how often are you actually expecting to go to your family's home? And then ask your partner, right? So some examples, like from the book, it says every Sunday, one time per week, and special events. So that's what this person was expecting. And then you would ask your partner, and maybe they say like, we go out to eat for Easter. We don't really get together at anybody's house. So I'm not really expecting to go to my family's house much. But that's a lot of information for you if you're someone who goes all the time. So being mindful, they are not used to this. This is not the normal in their family. Is that right or wrong? It really doesn't matter. What matters is the difference. Being able to see and understand difference for what it is. It's just that. It's just different. So whether they're right or wrong, I have no idea. But what I do know is that's going to be a lot for someone who doesn't really do a lot of stuff with their family. So either it's going to take a while for them to get used to if that's their goal. So we got to be patient with that process, or That may be something they're never interested in, but that's what you want to find out. And you want to find this out before you say, I do. Hopefully. Okay, the next one. How often, and these are questions you would ask each other if you feel safe. If you don't feel safe asking questions, I would say don't get married, because asking questions is a part of communicating. And so if you can't ask questions, you can't communicate, you cannot have a partnership. What would be the point, right? So if you cannot ask questions, if you don't feel safe, I would pause everything and go to therapy, either as an individual or as a couple, and see where you're at the end of that. And then if you can continue to move forward in an engagement. Okay, the next one. How often are you expecting or wanting to have your family visit our home? So that's another thing. It is one thing to go to a family's house. It's a whole other thing to have your family at your house, right? Or have your partner's family at your house versus going to your partner's family's house. So how often are you expecting to have them over? So we have to remember, if we're going to combine a life, if we're going to share a life, we really need to be asking these questions and understanding what it is our partner's expecting and our expectations, and be able to talk about it, because that could build a lot of resentment really quickly and drive a huge wedge in your marriage. It's your job or our responsibility to kind of toe that line with outside people from our marriage if we want a healthy marriage. We can't keep letting people dictate how we operate as individuals or in our partnership if you expect to have a long-lasting marriage. And it's your job to keep your side of the street out of that. And that can be really hard, especially when it's like parents or siblings, people that you really love and respect and admire. But they would need to respect your marriage because it's your marriage. Okay, so some examples could be, well, my mom comes to see me every day, or we do every Friday at my house, or monthly, or I only have my family over for Thanksgiving, or my family doesn't come to my house much. I'm not really expecting a lot. So just as honest as you can, truly, what are you expecting? This is not a time where you want to tell a bit of the truth because they don't like it, or just omit all the truth because they're not going to agree to it. This is a time for you to be as honest as you can so you can deal with it. I wouldn't sugarcoat it. I wouldn't try to minimize it. I would say exactly how it is and exactly what you want, so that your partner can know that and you can know if you want your partner. Number 3, how often are you expecting to go to your in-laws' home? So we said, how often are you expecting to go to your own families? How often are you expecting your family to come to your house? And now, how often are you expecting to go to your in-laws? So it could be, I know you guys do Sunday dinner, so I'm fine to go twice a month, or I'm fine to go every other Christmas, or I'm fine to go, twice a month, whatever it is. This is I already kind of know how you guys operate, and I'm kind of expecting that that's what we're going to do. And I'm good with that. Or do you have no idea? Have you not seen them go to their families? You don't understand the workings of it. So whatever it is you're expecting in terms of having them come there. And then the next one is, are you expecting or wanting your partner to go with you every time you go to your families? So it's one thing for you to go, but are you expecting them to go every single time you do? So it's this is what my family does on these days, and I expect you to be there with me because all of my siblings have their spouses with them. That's a normal thing we do. And so I expect that you're going to come with me also. So if you're expecting they're going to be there for certain events, this would definitely be the time to let them know that, because it's those unmet expectations that begin to build pressure and resentment, and that can drive a wedge. So you just want to be as upfront and honest as you can be and let them know, this is what I'm expecting. The next one. How much are you expecting your in-laws or your family to be involved in your finances? Do you expect that is going to be private, just between you and your partner? Or is your family really open about finances and it's not taboo to talk about finances or get advice or even get money sometimes from family? How much are you expecting your family and also in-laws to be involved in the finances? Is that considered private? Because can you imagine if it's really private to one person and they don't want anyone to know their financial business, but the other partner was raised that, this is a normal dinner conversation, and so they openly talk about everything. You can really feel betrayed, or a sense of betrayal, if your partner, you feel they're like blabbing about your personal private business, but to them, it's not personal private business. So it's really important to have these conversations so you can lay out expectations. And if there's anything that you disagree, you're just keeping track. And then you want to share how you feel and what you would want and what do they think about that. If I'm starting from here on my expectation and you're starting from here, is there any way we could get to a middle where we're both happy, where we both feel like we are giving and we both feel like we're winning? In marriage, there's always going to be sacrifice. So if you can't ever identify how you're sacrificing, you're probably not being the best partner. If you can't see the sacrifice in what you're doing. So if your partner's always sacrificing, they're probably only going to do that for so long and you're not going to have a solid relationship. So again, there's lots more questions, lots more exercises that you can do with your partner to iron some of this out to make sure it is marriage that you want with this person. You can find all of this from Do I. The link is in the description. It's on Amazon. Take good care. I'll leave some videos on the screen for you to go watch. And it's going to have more in the series of Do I and other relational trauma issues like boundaries. So take good care, and I'll see you in the next one.